thank you so much, Dr. Sachin, for always thinking and doing so much. He's such an active human being. He's a full-fledged doctor, and then he has time for spirituality and these deep, meaningful thoughts, which are so, so wonderful. And we are very, very grateful. And Dr. Shweta, I mean, both of them, so amazing. And for the last 1 year, Quantum Clinic physically as a place we can't do workshops and all because of the pandemic, but we should keep up with our webinars, and it's a very, very nice opportune time to talk about what is going around with all of us, especially the second wave has hit everybody so hard. So, and like Dr. Sachin was saying, so before I get into stress and grief and all of that, I have to give you a baseline, which is going to be further deepened by Ocean, who's going to give it, because jitni bari aap sunoge ye baatein, that's when you make it a reality. Otherwise, it's just talk, and then we forget about it. You have to listen, imbibe, and then make it because our brain activity is smart. बार बार सुनोगे वो बार बार वो फिर mirror करने लग जाता है, and you will go in that direction. So that's why it's important, no matter how many times you hear it from one person, the second person, the third person, it's important. So, I wanted to start with a baseline understanding before I even get into these other topics, is that everything, जो भी यहाँ पर जो भी सब कुछ हो रहा है, it's happening in consciousness. We cannot forget it. We keep forgetting it now because we take everything so real. So every experience that you are having right now, वो हो रहा है consciousness में. And that's important to understand, believe, imbibe. It takes time. It's taking me time. Every time I have to really, really see it. Because जो भी हम perceive कर रहे हैं in this human life, we are perceiving through our sense organs. The taste, your color, your touch. Now, all these things don't exist. ये कुछ exist तो करता नहीं है. We have made it all up to experience ourselves as conscious beings. And you have to take out time to reflect and go deeper into everything that is being created, which you are creating for yourself, right? So if we don't go deeper and deeper, not just an intellectual understanding, but महसूस करो उसको. The human experience जो हम अभी देख रहे हैं अपने पास, ये कैसे हो रहा है? Like, what is it? It is all being filtered through our mind, right? Me talking to you, this is an experience that's happening. We all have come on to the Zoom call. It's just an experience. It's made up. Now, for example, अगर हम plant life देखें, living life देखें, what does that plant need? Plant needs light, for example, water है, जो भी. And that's it. I mean, it's existing. It doesn't care, वो fat है, वो thin है, वो अच्छा लग रहा है, वो खिल रहा है, वो ऐसे है. It doesn't have a brain. It doesn't have a mind. Because why? How do I know I have a brain or a mind? Because I can perceive it. I can sense it. If you dissect my brain, doctors will tell you, हाँ, तुम्हारे पास brain है. Neuron activity हो रही है. Thoughts are being processed. So I know that. And I know the plant is just the way it is. So we don't care for it anymore because the plant can't think. We can't say that, So we become careless in the whole process of how we've gone about our lives now. Because हम बहुत अच्छी चीज करने लग गए हैं, और वो है हम कहानियां बनाते हैं. The brain, the mind filters everything and it tells you a story. And we believe that story, through our sense perceptions. Because हम feel कर सकते हैं, हम देख सकते हैं, we can taste it, we can definitely sense it around us. So we tell ourselves so many stories. पहले कहानी आती थी कि एक दूसरे को हम बताते थे अपने experiences वगैरह, billions of years ago. Then there were sages. There's a lot of wisdom also, which we are still talking about the same wisdom here. And then it became religion, फिर वो philosophy बन गई, theology बन गई. करते करते आजकल हम कहते हैं कि science है ना, scientific proof on everything is correct. But really, is that true? Now is a very interesting time to find out what is it. Is science telling me any truth? Because definitely what science is doing is it's giving me technology. हम सब Zoom पर हैं and we can talk to each other wherever we are sitting. It's made our life so comfortable. Definitely it's doing all of that from the time we have come. And we've realized that what we are doing right now, we are physical beings in a material world. And we believe that story. We believe that this is all so real. Actually, we are just fictional characters. in a dream world, right? But no, for us, everything through our mind, that the filtered, the stories are so real. And it's come, and we've given ourselves names like Homo sapiens, like we are the intelligent ones, we are smart. I mean, of course, it's a lot of arrogance. And then we've come up with things like pesa. I'm not going to go too much of detail into it because it's a whole another session basically, but I'll just give you basic background. And then we've made money important in our lives. It started with barter system. वो नहीं काम किया, करते करते हम money पर आ गए. And money is so important in today's world. In 2000th century, we are like, पैसा ना हो तो हमारी जिंदगी नहीं होगी, you know. And then we've made things like ये country मेरी है, borders बना दिए, हमने cultural differences बना दिए, we've made racial differences. So everything is around that, you know. So I am superior, I am better, I am this, and I have control. I know what is happening around my life. ये जरूरी है, ये ऐसे चलता है, ये इसको पता है, इस डॉक्टर को पता है, यहाँ पर पता है. So we live with all this, and with that we have a lot of fear, because the moment control goes out of you, you live in fear. You're like, oh my God, I have no control over anything, especially this pandemic. It is not touching a particular person. It's touching anybody across nations, everyone. And then we are like, oh my God, I have no control. I can't do the things I was used to doing because we have a conditioned mind. And this conditioned mind has been coming down through centuries, years. It's always been there. So if I talk a little bit, like keeping you that your consciousness always, and that Ocean is going to really go into detail with it. पर अगर मैं ये conditioned mind के बारे में बात करूं, और अब हम पहुंचे हैं stress or anxiety, panic, जो भी, you know, we feel, this comes in when you have a perception. Everything is perception. So you have a perception of threat from disease, like right now, threat from death, of course, right now, financial threat also, psychological, जो भी. These are all our interpretations, our perceptions, जो हमें feel होता है. So what is stress or anxiety, panic, whatever you want to call it? It is acute, and there are two types. It's acute and chronic. Chronic is what you're dealing with every day. You know, you wake up in the morning, अगर आजकल तो कोई काम पर नहीं जा रहा, but work from home है, if there's work stress, you know, you're not comfortable doing what you want to do. Then there is the problem with your children. There's a problem with the relatives, your in-laws who are living with you. There is stress with maybe arguments that you've had with your significant other, your spouse or somebody. Then agar road par ja rahe ho, so there's road rage. So, you know, there's all this stress that we have constantly that we are tackling. And that is what we call low-grade inflammation in your body. And if you carry on living like that, तो like all doctors say कि ये stress के वजह से. Now you can't pinpoint what is the stress because you're dealing with stress constantly. So वो lifestyle disease बन जाता है. So you have diabetes, you have heart disease, you have obesity, hormonal changes, thyroid, जो भी, all these are all your lifestyle diseases. So this is happening on chronic level. And acute stress is what is happening right now, what you're seeing with very young people who, you know, suddenly थे और अब नहीं है. And this is happening especially during the pandemic, जिसको भी corona हो रहा है. So this acute stress is, you know, when you feel that your personal safety is really under threat. You have that kind of inflammation, you know, which you say wo purane time mein, that fight and flight mode. That is what it automatically affects our nervous system. And our sympathetic nervous system goes out of whack. It is totally out of control then, because you are in a very inflamed, acute sense of, and there is scientific proof, I'm also using science actually, that a lot of people have died because of acute panic. They just could not control it. मेरे को corona हुआ है. I had it last month. And of course it was just like a viral, and I knew it was corona. So nothing much happened. It was just, I also called it, like I was like, chalo hone do. And I was lying in bed for 3 days, regular viral. Then I had loss of smell. And then I also went into a little bit of fear, which was like, what if this goes bad? And it's natural for all of us to panic because hum sun rahe hain ye kahaniyan. Like, everything is a story. So I was also believing that story and saying, agar kuch ho jaye to. So of course मैंने तो वो भी नहीं measure किया अपना precipitation level, my oxygen levels, वो आ गया था by the time my fever got okay, and then I was all fine. But that momentary, I was like, okay, it can get bad if I don't look after. I mean, if I'm, of course, I rested, and then I just threw that thought away. I was like, forget it. Jo hoga, hoga, nahi hoga, nahi hoga. I'm taking care. I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing, and let's see what happens. So I had to really calm my body down again, and I was like, stop thinking these thoughts, because these are just thoughts. These are made up stories. Stop it. So wo kiya. And of course, Ocean is always there. So, she's like, I'm sending you healing, calm down. So I was fine then within a day. And when you get viral, your body will automatically have, it'll have fever because it's trying to get rid of that infection on its own. It has its own mechanism. It's quite scientific. And you just go through that process for those who can. For many of us, which we've seen, 2% at least of the population is not having it so easy. There is a lot of problem with panic, and like we don't know certain things. So ये अपने आप को control करना, अपना story change karna is important, because what we also have, see, everything is designed in our body. We have the parasympathetic nervous system. What does that do? It keeps everything in calm and control. It helps stress. It gives you resilience. Now this has to be activated. And how am I going to activate it? I will do mindfulness. I will do meditation. I do deep breathing. I will exercise a bit, yoga. Because all these things activate my vagus nerve. This is also inside my body. It regulates my functioning of digestion, my heart rate, my respiration. All these things have to come in. And also, am I just reading news all the time and going into a panic mode? Or am I going to tell myself that I don't want to believe in the story? I'm going to shut it and I'm just going to have fun. How much of joy am I bringing in my life? How much are we laughing? Is there humor? Aajkal hum sab andar ghar mein hi hai. There's limited meeting and all of that. Are you laughing with your children? Are you watching some TV with them? Are you just, taking time with yourself, enjoying, just being in joy, which is our natural state? Consciousness comes from bliss. Because none of this is real. It's just an experience. So we have to have a healthy immune system, which we have given ourselves so that we can have these experiences. We don't want an overactive immune system, which will give us allergies and all of that. And we don't want an underactive immune system, which will pick up every infection. We fine tune it, and we fine tune it with good quality sleep, with meditation, with all healthy relationships. फिर हम देखते हैं कि हमारी relationships healthy हैं कि नहीं है, कि हर time हमने लड़ाई झगड़ा ही करना है. You have to have fun. You play, you sing, you go into the water if you can. You use your imagination. You get creative. अंदर हो क्या करें अलग? Because it takes, again, ये conditioning है. Because कितनी देर हम अंदर हैं, and now you have to just get more and more creative. Like, okay, what else can I do to have fun? What else can I do? So these are very, very, if you had a pen and paper, you could have all noted it down, because you keep going through your notes and keep saying, okay, what is the different thing I've done today? What is something else that I'm doing today? And coming to a very, very important point, which is grief. And grief for a lot of people who have lost their loved ones, grief of anybody who is going through, and grief is not something that we don't know. It is a natural reaction to loss. And all of us in our lifetime at some point have seen grief. We've been through it. But yes, ye COVID ke time mein, grief has been difficult. It is, because like very correctly, Dr. Sachin was saying, tum aa nahi sakte, relatives can't travel, they can't be with you. You don't know, because otherwise the whole grief period is, everybody comes together and there's a whole grieving process, which is wonderful. And that's the way we sort of, our brain kind of unwinds and gets strength from one another, and then we move on. Ab wo nahi ho raha. So, and it's a new challenge. This new way of grieving is a challenge. And we do have a difficult time during loss. And but there will be a time when we do accept it also, that, this is the way it is, because we are so good at adapting. Human beings, we adapt, and we've been adapting through ages. So give yourself that we can. So I can tell you how to go through grief. Like if it's a very dear loved one, you bring that person you have lost. Now, it is consciousness. That's why I said it's important for me to have that talk, because this is all consciousness. Now, the person who's left the body has transcended to another realm. It is a fact. You cannot say, "Nahi, ye science nahi keh raha," because science doesn't know it all. You know it. You have a deep sense of knowing because you're conscious beings, and you have that knowing. you know that the person has left the body. And हमारे सारे wisdom traditions में ये सब लिखा है, सब जगह है कि हम अपनी ये बॉडी छोड़ के आगे चले जाते हैं. अभी ऐसे लगता है कि lot of people untimely have gone, but we don't. Is it via corona? Is it via? It could be anything. The time to go, nobody can decide. Corona cannot decide, or I cannot decide, or anybody. It is the time to go. It's like consciousness just is like, now is the time. Like, live this, because there are a lot of nice things also that are happening during this time. We all are moving up. You're on this call not because हमने message भेजा और आप आ गए हो, चलो वो तो है ही है, but you something pulled you. There are no accidents. You didn't just say अच्छा देख लेते हैं क्या है. You knew, you read that message and you're like, oh, I want to be on this. I'm going to be on it. It didn't go to everybody, but wherever it went, you were meant to be here. You are here. Everything, every phone call that you have, there's nothing by chance. It's happening because of an interview. The more you start noticing these things, you're like, oh my God, isn't this magical? What a magical life. Every moment is magic. It is. All made up, magical, we've asked for it. So when there's somebody very close to you, you've lost, you bring that person into your awareness and you talk to them. If you've not had a good relationship, your relationship can get better. I lost my mother-in-law in 2019. And I don't know how many conversations I've had with her after she's passed away. And so much of peace I've got. Every time I've seen her, she's been in peace. Every time there's some and such wisdom has come across, on certain questions I had. Always in my sleep. Now you'll say sleep to dream hai. But even this, when you wake up, is also made up. So sab kuch hi made up hai. I'm having that conversation with that soul. I am determined and I believe it. I mean, I know that I'm having that conversation as and when. And then I've also felt that, okay, now I'm done. I mean, you bring that person and you believe that this person awareness I can feel, or I am having this talk, it's going through. Right? Then you embrace your grief. You do not suppress it. Do not especially for men, a lot of them don't show their griefs. Don't show it. Don't suppress it. Feel it in your body. Every emotion you will always feel in your body. Some parts. Feel it. Because grief has a life cycle. It has a life cycle of about a year. Saal lagta hai. So don't repress it. Don't resist it. Because jo bhi tum resist karoge, wo persist karega. Embrace it in your body. Right? And the third point which I wanted to also make is find your way to express love to somebody else. This love that you have for this person who's gone. Like I said, even if you've not had a very good relationship, you can have a great relationship. And now express this love to somebody. You can express it to your own child. You can express it with your parent, with your spouse, a partner, a friend. Kisi se bhi. Anyone you find and you feel I need. So, and very correctly, ये grief के stages हैं. पहले जैसे ही आपको grief आप करोगे, victimization में जाओगे. If it is a young person, you will feel, why me? मेरे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? You will have anger and you will have frustration. It is a normal process of grief. It can come in any order. It can be anger first, victimization later. It can come in any order. कोई वो नहीं है कि इस तरह से होता है. Helplessness feeling आती है. Resignation भी आएगा कि अब मैं क्या करूं? There's nothing I can do in this. And eventually, and after some time, as this process is going on, at some point you will hit acceptance. Not everybody does, but if you can, it's great, because us acceptance mein shanti hai. Life and death is a circle of living. We cannot do without this. We cannot live if we don't die. So you have to understand this is the circle of life. It moves like this. And when you come to acceptance, and acceptance comes from deep sense of knowing, again from consciousness, a deep, deep sense of that. That is the time, and this is the time for all of us to ask this question. What is the meaning of my life? How do I use my life to make it a better world for myself, for others? I've experienced that there's nothing in this world, but there's just, there's this moment and then it's gone. So, kya kare? Kya hai meri higher calling? And another thing which really works wonders, gratitude. Just so grateful. It's so good to look through the eyes of gratitude. And this has come through us through wisdom traditions. Sabne bola hai ye. Chahe Gita mein hai, Lord Buddha bol do, Jesus Christ, Socrates, Confucius. Everybody is talking about these things. It's nothing new. We are all there. This is the opportunity and preparedness to ask, who am I? Everybody says, and see from the eyes of gratitude, because each day seems like magic. Each day you can get up, you've got feet, you've got hands, you've got a head, you've got a mouth to eat. It's amazing. Digestive system is working. Wow, brilliant. Live it. And start imbibing it. So when you open your eyes in the morning for 2 seconds before you come back into this world, because you travel so much while you sleep. So before you come back into the world, just like lie quietly, breathe in and out, and just wonder and be grateful. Wow, this is amazing. Just say that to yourself and then wake up and then see your life. So while we are there, yes, we need to take care of each other. We have to have a very sacred relationship with nature, with animals, with the aquatic life. We were so busy before the pandemic, busy planning everything. ये प्लान वो प्लान, यहाँ जाना, यहाँ आना, वहाँ करना, वो करना, फ्यूचर में ये होगा, ये घर खरीदेंगे, उस बच्चे के लिए खरीद लेंगे, इसके लिए भी कर देंगे, इसकी शादी इसके साथ कर देंगे. You don't need to plan anything, because you have to just be present to what is happening right now. Be in awareness, be in presence. Again, this presence comes in when you sit down quietly. I say meditation, but you can just sit down for 5 minutes doing nothing. That's meditation. Meditation can be anything, कहीं पर भी चुप करके बैठ जाओ, breathing पर focus करो, vagus nerve तुम्हारी activate हुई. Just focus, because all your stress will go away. And you ask meaningful questions. Do not worry about कि ये आंसर क्या है, कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, कि ये क्या है, मेरी पर्पस क्या है. Don't worry about it. Just ask the question. Life, जिंदगी तुम्हें खुद ही उस आंसर्स पर ले आएगी. You don't need to worry. And I know times are uncertain. We don't know about a lot of things, like what's going to happen. How is this coronavirus going to pan out? July में ठीक हो जाएगा, कभी खुलेगा, बच्चे कभी स्कूल जाएंगे. We don't know. So when you surrender to uncertainty right now, that's when you find creativity. You find a skill to serve. Like, how can I serve? How do I create through love-based emotions and action? Right? There's so many opportunities that just open up. And then you're like, this whole the whole world was looking at India, and people were dying on the roads because of lack of oxygen. There was a lot of help that was required. You were sitting in your house now. If you can give money, I would say yes, please give it. Get those cylinders, get people to get oxygen. Why not? And people who need the money should ask for it, because it's time to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is out there. Pucho, kya chahiye? Be there, available, and say, okay, if I can, I can. If I cannot give the money, if I cannot do that, what else can I do? We can help each other by paying attention to one another. We can care for one another. And let's just accept each other of who we are. एक तो आधा टाइम ना हम लोगों को बदलने में ही कोशिश करते रहते हैं कि no, not this way, नहीं ऐसे नहीं ऐसे. Just accept people. ऐसे अपने आप को ही बदलना इतना मुश्किल है. So just, I just feel like just let it be. That's the way the person is. It's okay. Your actions, your vibration, your thoughts will just take you where you are going. And everybody will see that and sense that. So don't waste too much time changing somebody else. Acceptance is your key, right? So accepting each other as we are, and as long as we practice that, as long as we practice acceptance, appreciation, attention, love for one another, that's when we solve this new change that we are coming to. That's the time we are going to be like, wow, we are getting there. We are going in a direction. ये changes पहले भी थी. ये नहीं है कि हम, because we've started quantum clinic, and I can feel that people always wanted to know, and we were making those little strides. फिर ये coronavirus, we didn't know what it was going to come. It came. It's changing. It's really making you think deep. Because we all together as conscious beings have asked for this experience. We are all ready to move. We are all there. Okay? So we cannot actually, because as human beings, हम अपने आप को इतना घमंड दे देते हैं कि हमारे पास कंट्रोल है. But actually, even if I tell you कि अगले 1 घंटे में इस दुनिया में क्या होगा, आप वो भी नहीं प्रोडिक्ट कर पाओगे. So embracing the wisdom of uncertainty is so important, and looking at one another through kindness. Kal raati we had this huge storm. I mean, we had no indication the storm was going to come. It was literally like a hurricane. And in 10 minutes, it was like it came like a rage and it just took away everything. So that is how unpredictable it is. Uncertain. You don't know what to tell a storm tha. But I'm just saying storms are there at every corner all the time. And with this, because we need time for questions, I am going to hand over to Ocean. So thank you all. And we'll take over questions right at the end. So Ocean can go in and talk about consciousness.